Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Lulu, your host for this week's amazing podcast. Welcome to the 100th episode of the Genetic Genius Podcast. And I am so thrilled to have on my show today my guest, Dr. Bruce Lipton. We're going to be talking all about energy, photons, stem cells, genetics, DNA, of course, evolution, and more. Bruce Lipton is a cell biologist and lecturer, and he's an internationally recognized leader in bridging science and spirit. Bruce was on the faculty of the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine, and he later performed groundbreaking stem cell research at Stanford University. He's the best-selling author of The Biology of Belief, The Honeymoon Effect, and co-author with Steve Bhaerman of Spontaneous Evolution. Bruce received the 2009 prestigious Goi Peace Award from Japan in honor of a scientific contribution to world harmony. For more information, you can visit his website at brucelipton.com.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Genetic Genius Podcast. I am absolutely thrilled to have Bruce Lipton as my 100th episode. Yay. So we're going to be talking all about epigenetic revolution, healing ourselves and the planet, DNA, and Dr. Lipton's amazing books, which he has 3 of: The Biology of Belief, Spontaneous Evolution, and The Honeymoon Effect. So welcome.
Lulu, thank you so very much. And I so appreciate this opportunity to talk to this wonderful audience, because these are the cultural creatives that are seeking better answers outside of the box, because the box is having some problems today. Thank you for letting me have this opportunity to, I hope, spread some good news.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm really excited for our conversation. Before we jump in, can you just talk a little bit about yourself so the audience can get to know you and find out what makes you tick?
I like peanut butter and jelly. Oh, no, that's too deep. Okay, I'll go. Let's start off with this. I used to be a professor at the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine, and I served my period there for about 15 or more years, got professorship, but then I ended up going to Stanford University School of Medicine, where I continued my research on cloning stem cells, which is really critical for us to understand, because we all have stem cells.
That's
Just
right.
a little point, if anybody out there is listening to me right now, you have stem cells, because if you didn't, you wouldn't be here listening to me. So we'll talk about stem cells hopefully in a minute,
Yeah.
but this was my research and what I learned from the stem cells. They taught me, I'm the student of watching them for years. They taught me a whole bunch of different things. And one of the most exciting things was something I never believed in as a scientist, and that is spirituality. But in the terms of quantum physics, and I say, no, not spirit, field. There's an energy field. And
Right.
people, oh, that's scientific. And I go, yeah, but field and spirit have the same definition: invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. Energy fields in quantum physics, a spirit in our line of work, same definition, same thing. So science has come full circle now, back into the realm of understanding the role of spirit and consciousness in shaping our world, as opposed to the conventional belief that genes made me do it. No, genes didn't do it.
Genes made me do it. I love that. Well, that's a great kind of intro to our talk today. Yes, we're going to be talking about stem cells, of course, epigenetics. We're going to be talking all about the deep, what's inside, but also what's on the outside.
They're all entangled. That's the whole important thing. People in the world of quantum physics. So let's just a simple scientific point of view for a moment, because it's weird. That's why quantum physics is the weird science. And basically says that what we perceive as matter, okay, is an illusion, because matter is an illusion because everything is energy. And it's, oh, that really blows people's mind. How can it be energy? I can see you, I can touch you, I can do all these things. I go, energy is a field, and so is a tornado.
Right.
So why is it relevant? And I say, a tornado is a force, okay? And it's invisible unless the dirt and dust get picked up, and then you can see the funnel cloud, okay? But if there's no dirt and dust, there's still a funnel of energy spinning, and you can't see it, but you can sure as hell touch it, because if you try to push your way through a tornado, it will push you back. And then at some point you realize, I'm pushing on something and it's pushing on me. It feels solid. I say, it's a tornado. It's just an energy force. Atoms are nano tornadoes. Every atom is a spinning energy source, like a tornado with a force field. And that's why you see this wall, you can see it. Oh, let me just explain seeing. How can I see something if it's energy? Because energy is invisible. Here's the answer. You ready? The lights are on. Okay. People go, oh, yeah. I go, no, it's not a joke, because basically what it says is this: photons, light particles, come down, and when they hit the energy of your body or the wall or the chair or anything around you, the energy, when the photon hits the energy, is reflected. So you're not seeing the energy. What you're seeing is a veneer of photons hitting the surface, being reflected back. That's why I say you can only see something you have the lights on.
Right.
And because you're not really seeing the energy, you're just seeing where the photons are hitting the surface of the energy and reflected back. Okay. And because the atoms have that nano tornado aspect about them, if you try to push on an atom, it's like trying to push on a tornado. It will push back.
Right,
So
exactly.
you can look at the wall at your house and go, hey, it's invisible energy, and then try to put your hand through, and I go, it's not going to happen, because as you push your energy against its energy, it will push you back.
It'll push you back.
The conclusion is very important, and it's profound, and it's like, okay, you can think about it, and it's very hard to bring into your everyday world because we grew up in a material environment, and we have to let go of that. And it's funny, Albert Einstein talked about that matter is an illusion, albeit a persistent illusion, because what we're not seeing is underneath the photons, that there's nothing physical that you can see in there at all. As a matter of fact, scan systems like MRI scans, CAT scans, and all that, they see through the body, and they can show you all the structure inside the body. I go, yeah, but they don't read light. They read energy.
Right, they read energy.
So whatever in a CAT scan is actually an energy. And it's, you can see all the vertebrae, and you can see all the muscles and all that. And I go, yeah, because they're all energy. And that's how the scan can see through the body. It's not using light at all.
Right.
So it's a tough change for us to get into, because it's important. Because now you have to recognize everything is made out of energy. And I go, so what? I go, if I have two physical things, let's say my two hands, I say, okay, they're together. And I say, yeah, but now I can talk about this hand separate from this hand. I go, that is also an illusion, because energy is waves, like ripples on a pond when a rock goes in. That's actually, you're seeing the force of energy shaping the water. So the force of energy is a wave, because that's what the shape of the ripples are. And I go, but the point about energy, there's no border to it. There's no edge. Here's where the energy stops. I say, there's no edge. And I say, so what's the result? All energy, if you have two rocks and you drop them in the water at the same time and the ripples are coming together, they actually engage with each other. The most important insight here is everything made out of energy is entangled with everything else made out of energy, because there's no separation of energy. So guess what? You're connected to the chair you're sitting on, you're connected to the room you're in, you're connected to the people that are outside, you're connected to the moon, the sun, and everything. And all of a sudden I go, the biggest point here is this: there's no such thing as a separate anything in the universe. Everything in the universe is interconnected, because the ripples of energy merge with each other, and they make a response. So the point about all this is, we used to talk about, I'm separate from you. And I go, there's no separation. And when we understand that, then you recognize the universe isn't made out of parts. The universe is a whole. Everything is part of the whole. This changes how we relate to things. If I'm separate from you, then I can say, oh, I could do to you what I want. I'm separate. And I go, no, whatever you do to you is going to come back and do it to me.
Right.
I have to be very careful.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That was a fabulous explanation, and really laying the groundwork for us from the energetic, vibrational perspective of energy, because I think that is the wave of how you talked about, the wave of how we're moving into this collective consciousness of thinking, and that we no longer have the separation. We've never had it, but I think people really separated their mind into blocks.
It's just the illusion of it. And it becomes very critical, because okay, you, Lulu, are over there and I'm over here, and we look like separate individuals, yet we are in the same energy field. And in fact, being humans, we share the same vibrational energy as humans. And so when we talk about civilization, we don't talk about individual people anymore. We talk about the collective nature of all of the people in one thing. And that's what evolution is all about: getting rid of the idea of separation and recognizing we are connected to every other human. And then I say, so what is the big picture? Well, we ourselves in something bigger called humanity. So we're all connected to the same vibration of human. And so we're all in the same body, more or less. And as a result, our evolution that we're talking about is an evolution that says, okay, all humans are part of one organism.
Exactly.
And when what we know about in biology, you're made out of 50 trillion cells, okay? And when there's health in the system, that cellular community is working in harmony beautifully. However, if some cells get out of that harmony, they could cause a disruption, which is called a disease.
Right.
And much of it is called autoimmune disease. You know, what does that mean? It means self-destruction.
Right.
That somehow or other, your cells are attacking each other, and you have a battle going on in the inside, and that's an expression of real disease. And I go, the organism called humanity, we're the cells. But if we start fighting each other,
That's
then
not good.
we're creating autoimmune disease,
Right.
and we're destroying the character of what humanity is supposed to be. So the wake-up call for most people, and they don't see it, is you cannot hurt somebody else because you're hurting yourself, because we're all part of the same organism. So that says, what do you mean about war? And I go, war? Are you kidding me? That's barbaric, ancient ways of dealing with life. And the future way of life is harmony. Vibration makes music. And when the music is in harmony, it makes a beautiful sound. If the music gets out of harmony, it makes noise.
Right. Yeah. Like
Right
when
now.
you're at a concert, and you hear that one instrument that's like a little bit off or something. You're like, oh, wait, you're not in
That's
harmony.
We are those instruments. So the idea about our evolution is, what the most important part of our evolution is to recognize we ourselves, like every other human, is a cell on this planet. And if you kill, hurt, or damage another human, that would be the equivalent of autoimmune disease, destroying the power of humanity.
Right.
And this is the wake-up call that says, okay, let's stop being separate. There is no such thing as people in this country are separate from the other. I go, no, all people everywhere are part of the same thing.
Yeah.
A hard lesson, because it's not in the public consciousness at all. And that's why the amount of violence and things we see on this planet are so out of harmony with humanity and evolution that we're supposed to go. So it's the wake-up call right now.
Right. Yeah. Hello. Are you getting the phone call? It's coming in.
Yeah. Are you not paying attention?
Right.
And you know, I'll bring up this subject and then we can talk on it. Okay. And that is this: 5 times in the history of this planet, life was thriving. Man, all the organisms, web of life, everything was really beautiful. And 5 different times, some cataclysmic event wiped out up to 90% of life, disappeared.
Right. Boom.
And this is things like massive volcanic activity, tectonic plate movement, things like that. The last of the mass extinctions was 66 million years ago. The planet had lush forests and everything. We also had dinosaurs all over the place. And I go, what happened? A comet hit near the Yucatan Peninsula, a giant comet, upended the web of life. And as the web of life collapsed, the dinosaurs disappeared, 75% of life disappeared. That was the last mass extinction. Today, and it's not from today, it's for over 15 years, science has been telling the public, you're in the 6th mass extinction.
Right.
The previous 5 were natural events. Here comes the part that it's hurting.
Right. Yeah. This is what you really have to hear here.
Humans are causing their own mass extinction by the way they treat each other, and by how they're undermining the web of life, and how they're destroying the resources of the planet and just spoiling the garden. That's
right. Yeah, exactly. And the planet is rebelling.
Well, and it is, and it's waking up, and it's telling us you can't live like this. All those things that nature is trying to wake us up with. Plague, COVID,
exactly. Yeah, right.
War, you know, famine, and all these things. Okay, people, you have to wake up. Why? We're not in harmony with nature.
Right.
And nature will eliminate any organism in the garden that is not supporting harmony. That's what
so true.
does, okay?
Right. Yeah.
The garden, and we have to recognize we came from a garden, okay?
Right.
But we also have to recognize a garden is not a battleground. A garden is the height of cooperation. All the insects, all the plants, the birds, everything, they're not just random pieces. They come together in cooperation. And so we came from a garden, and yet we as individuals are destroying the garden.
Right.
And nature is giving us the symptoms of, if you don't straighten this out now, you won't be here because extinction is occurring. And I go, oh, is that 1,000 years from now? And I go, no,
No.
it's a decade.
Right.
In
It's not
decades,
1,000
human
years if we keep it up.
civilization will be gone. And I
Yeah.
say, so what's the point? And,
Mhm.
and the conclusion that comes here is very important. It says human behavior is causing the problem. And so the only way to change the problem is that human behavior has to change, which
Mhm.
means the civilization, the way we've been living on this planet, using all the resources and destroying things and polluting the air and the water and everything, we're being called upon by nature. It says, you've got to change your way of life, because that way of life is self-destructive. And so basically, I said, how do we change that way of life? And then all of a sudden it says, the civilization, the way we live as a civilization is the problem. So guess what? We have to rewrite civilization, the way it works, the behavior. I said, well, how are you going to do that? I said, the first thing is you can't build it on today's civilization, on the foundation. The foundation was wrong.
Exactly. It's
You
crumbling.
can't build a sustainable world on this. So then there's only one important understanding that says the current civilization has to break down
Mhm.
so that a new one can be built. So
Right.
therefore, my little conclusion after that intro is you surf the web, watch the news, or just look out your window and you see the whole thing is breaking down and people are going, oh, it's breaking down. I'm going, thank God it's breaking down.
Right.
Because if it doesn't break down, we'll never have an opportunity to rebuild a civilization that can make it into the future.
So important.
The wake-up call here is this. Yeah, you see all that chaos going on out there? It's important, has to happen, because then we can build from scratch a new
Mhm.
way of life on this planet. And therefore, Lulu, I want to thank you, because you're a place to offer scientific information to the public that says what's happening is important, yes,
Mhm.
and the breakdown is necessary. So don't be afraid of the breakdown,
Right.
because we have to build another way of life to survive on this planet.
Yeah, it's the only way we can rebuild is from chaos, right? A lot of matter has happened from quote unquote chaos. It's how, like you were talking about that tornado earlier, right? That energy tornado. We need to have that energetic shift to allow that new place of growth to happen on the planet.
Yeah, and a lot of people think chaos means random. And this is no,
Nope.
chaos. There's a pattern to chaos, but it takes so many details to see the pattern that you can only guess about what's going on. Weather is not accidental. That if you could measure all the important components that affect weather, I can tell you what the temperature is going to be outside your house on February 3rd next year,
Right.
because it's all, but it's, how can you tell the weather? I say, remember the old story when a butterfly flaps its wings in South America, it influences a storm in North America. And I go, yeah, it's true. So guess what? You want accurate weather? You have to measure every butterfly on the planet.
Yeah,
And
that'd
then
be
you
a
have to
lot.
measure every bird. And then
Yeah.
you have to measure anything that's moving, cars, planes, everything. Why? Because all of those are contributing to a change in the energy field. And if you can measure them all, then you can accurately understand what the weather is going to be in February from today.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But we
I love
can't.
that. We can't. No, I think that's a little bit beyond at this moment in time. It's a little beyond us, but our
So
planet and yeah, it's
that's why
evolving.
weather forecasting is probability.
I know.
Probability is going to
It
rain.
might rain today, like it's raining
That's
now.
that's
Yeah,
the
it might
best
rain.
weather forecast.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I love that. Let's shift our conversation and talk a little about genetics. I think we talked about like laying the groundwork for the foundation of our cells. And I'd love
Yes.
for you to talk about the aspect of epigenetics, because it's a gray area. People don't understand it. And
It is the most important
I
revolution for
know.
civilization.
Exactly.
We should know about it.
Yes. And so I talk about it all the time, and it's so important, but I want your knowledge to come through, because
Okay.
you just have this great platform that you're speaking from.
Okay, let's start off. I used to teach in the medical school, okay?
Yep.
And I said, what were we teaching? We were teaching a concept called genetic determination. What does that mean? It was the belief that started about 1950s that said, oh, genes design the proteins of the body, and the proteins of the body give us our shape,
Right.
anatomy, but proteins also move, and that's where physiology comes from, provide structure and function, okay?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
proteins come from the genes. And therefore, when we go back, we understand what I was teaching was called the central dogma. That is the name of the hypothesis. And the hypothesis is information only flows in one direction, from the DNA to an intermediate called RNA.
Yep.
And that then is responsible for making the proteins. So information only goes from DNA to RNA to protein. And I say, what is the significance of that? And I go, as far as you didn't pick the DNA you came with, if you don't like your characteristics, you can't change the DNA.
Right.
And thirdly, we tell you that DNA turns on and off by itself. And I say, oh, then we don't control the DNA. I say, no, DNA controls you. And I say, well, then give me the significance of teaching genetic determinism. The answer is, we are teaching people hey, I'm lazy. Yeah, but my father was lazy, so I got his lazy gene.
The lazy gene. Yeah, no, I don't have that one.
So basically, what it says, as far as we can't, because we didn't pick them and we can't change them and they activate themselves, and we are victims of our heredity. If there's cancer running in your family, it's like, oh, I could get the cancer gene.
Right.
Oh, I have heart disease, right? Oh, I could get the heart disease gene. I go, first of all, there's no cancer gene. There's not one cancer gene, not one gene that causes cancer. And I go, okay, wait a minute. This is a belief called that your fate is determined at the moment of conception, when the genes from your mother and your father come together, fertilize the egg. And now it's like blueprint in your egg of your future. And that again makes us the victim of what's going on.
So that's only one tiny piece, right? The egg and the sperm coming together.
That's the beginning of the program.
Right. Yeah.
The
program starts off.
The rest of our lives is unfolding of that genetic program.
Exactly.
And then we say, I have no control over the cancer because there's cancer running in the family and I got the cancer gene. And so we disempower people.
That's right. Manifest it within themselves.
But then it turns out the whole idea is wrong, because it turns out that the DNA is activated by environmental signals. And so if you change the environment, you change your biology. A simple understanding is this: you walk outside and it's cold out, your body feels the environment and then brings your temperature up. You walk outside and it's warm out, the body feels the warm and then drops your temperature. And so I say, so then temperature regulation has nothing to do with genes and everything to do with what's going on in the environment.
Exactly.
All of our biology, all of our genes are controlled by environmental signals. And now they say, oh, we used to think genes turn on and off by themselves. Genes are blueprints to make proteins.
Yeah, exactly.
Important fact is, go into an architect's office and she's working on a blueprint, and lean over her shoulder and go, hey, is your blueprint on or off? And she would look at you like, what are you, crazy? It's a blueprint. There's no on and off to a blueprint.
Right.
Go, aha. Genes do not turn on and off. Genes do not control themselves. Genes are blueprints. And I go, then what controls the blueprints? I say, the architect. I go, then what's the architect? I go, the nervous system, adjusting the genes based on your response to the world. Now, I said the temperature thing, that was direct. The temperature changes, I directly change my temperature, okay? But then we look at the world through our perception, and I go, that's something that's scary. And I go, but maybe it wasn't scary. That was just what you believe it was. But your biology is going to make a fear response because you said that was scary.
Right. How you reacted to it.
So the cells, simple point, to adjust the biology, cells have to adjust their behavior to the environment. If it's a peaceful environment, then I can live in one way. But if it's a war-torn environment, I have to change my biology to be a fighter and all that stuff. So I go, the cells in my body have to adjust to what the conditions are in the world. An amoeba is outside. It lives outside. If the temperature changes, the amoeba has to deal with it directly, okay?
Right.
Let's say my liver cells, your liver cells, I said, do they know what's going on? I said, they're inside under the skin. They have no idea what the hell is going on outside, but they have to adjust their biology. So I say, how do the cells in your body know what's going on? I go, the nervous system tells them.
Exactly.
So the cells in our body are not directly connected to the real environment. They're dependent upon the interpretation of the nervous system to adjust their biology to match the environment. And that's where I go, these are our perceptions.
Right.
And I go, if our perceptions are accurate, then our biology on the inside is going to accurately respond to the environment. But if our perceptions are not accurate, then we're going to send information to the cells that are not in harmony with what's going on in the environment. And all of a sudden, that's when the cells are no longer in harmony with the world. And that's when disease starts to manifest.
Yeah, that's so key. And so everyone, there is that individualized perception that then changes with the circumstance.
It can change. It can change. Some people hold their perceptions their entire life. That's what I believe.
That's true. That's true.
It's still the way it is.
Yeah, they're like, this is it. I'm only going to believe this and nothing else, black and white.
Therefore, people feel like they're victims of the world because the first thing is, oh, genes did this. I'm just a passive victim. The genes did this to me. And I go, no, the genes cannot do anything to you because genes cannot turn on and off. Genes are controlled by your consciousness. If you're not well, you could say either of two things: disease. What causes disease? I say either the genes are defective so that the protein mechanisms don't work right, or the perception of the world is sending incorrect information. So now the cells are not in harmony with the real world. This is the big number, less than 1% of disease is connected to genetics.
Less than 1%. That's amazing.
I mean, all the sick people in the world, we have a healthcare crisis everywhere in the world.
Right.
And I say, what's responsible? And everybody, well, the genes did this. And I go, less than 1% of all that disease is connected to genes, which then brings up the question, then where the heck is all the disease coming from? And I go,
where is it?
The perceptions that we see and cause our cells to respond to. If our perceptions are not accurate, then our cells are not in harmony. And our cells are not in harmony, disharmony, disease, harmony, health. 90% or more of illness is basically because the way people are dealing with the world is not in harmony with the way life is. Yeah. And as a result, we are generating our own illness. 90% of cancer has no genetic linkage, meaning people get cancer and there's no history of cancer in their entire, and the idea of a cancer gene scares people. Angelina Jolie, a beautiful young actress, her mother dies of breast cancer, her grandmother dies of breast cancer. And of course, her father's very helpful. He's a medical doctor and he tells her, you got the breast cancer gene, you could die from the breast cancer. So as this young, beautiful woman, she has a double mastectomy, thinking, well, if I remove the breast, I'm not going to have breast cancer.
I won't get breast cancer.
And I go, well, unfortunately, the same gene also causes ovarian cancer and uterine cancer. So you have to have a hysterectomy as well as a mastectomy. And yet the point about it is, why did they do it? Because the idea is the gene is going to cause the cancer. Now, let me give a fact. 50% of the women that carry the BRCA cancer gene never get the cancer. And I said, there's a very important point. And the point is simply this: possession of the gene wasn't the responsible element. People have the gene, they don't ever get the cancer.
Right.
It's the lifestyle that is not in harmony that causes that gene to engage. And then the cancer is an expression, not because the cells are stupid. The cancer is an expression because the people are not in harmony. And there I say, this is a big problem with cancer treatment. Everyone wants to kill the cancer cells, like the cancer cell.
Kill every cell, not just one cell, cancer cell. I'm going to give you something to kill every single cell in your body.
Right. And the idea, you can kill all the cancer cells you want, but the cancer didn't come from the cells. The cancer came from the perception and the response. So if you want to get rid of the cancer, killing the cells is stupid because they're not the problem.
Exactly.
Consciousness. And so you change your consciousness and you can go into remission. So the idea is we've been looking at it wrong because we've been blaming genes when it turns out genes respond to our perceptions, and we can change the genes. With a gene is a blueprint to make a protein.
Right.
The way we respond to the world, I can make over 3,000 different variations of proteins from the same blueprint.
That's amazing. I love that.
It is. It's good in some cases. If you change them and it's okay, that's fine. But if you change them and you made the gene worse, then you got cancer.
Something unlikely could develop for sure. And okay, so we're in this environment and the things around us are contributing to how our genetics, how our DNA is functioning in the system. So how can we change our relationship with the environment?
The first thing is we have to change those perceptions that are not working for us, okay? And I go, let's take it. The brain is a computer. It is the most advanced computer that humans have ever experienced, okay? And I go, guess what? Because it's a computer, it also has the same functions as a regular computer. And I say, in the old days, you would go buy a brand new computer and you bring it home and you push start and it boots up.
Right. Boopity boop.
but it doesn't do anything.
Right,
The screen comes on.
Yeah.
I say, well,
Now
make
what?
a drawing, make a word diagram. I said, no, you cannot use the computer until you first put programs in the computer. Then you can access the programs and add your information. So I say, a baby's brain is a computer. In the last trimester of development, the screen lights up, but it can't do anything. There are no programs in it.
Right.
So it starts to download patterns. Okay. And it downloads the patterns provided by the mother. We'll talk about that in a second, before it's born. But after it's born, it's connected to the world, and it works and observes the world. And I say, how many rules does it take for a child to learn to be a member of a family or a functional member of a community? I say thousands of rules. How your dad talks to you is not how your dad talks to the neighbor's kid. It's not how your dad talks to your mom. It's not your dad talks to the neighbor's mom. It's not how the dad talks to the policeman. I go, oh my God, you have to have so many different ways of dealing. And I go, well, how do you learn them? And here comes the issue. The first 7 years of a child's life, the brain is operating in a state of hypnosis. And you go, why is that significant? The brain is like a video camera. It watches
observing and getting information in.
It downloads how the mother behaves. It downloads how the father behaves. It downloads how the sisters and brothers or the community. And I say, oh, now I understand the behavior of living in a family. And I know the behavior of living in a community. I go, but you downloaded it from other people. And if they have a problem,
that's how that becomes ingrained in us, that belief system of whether that's a good problem or a bad problem.
Yeah. So downloading the programs is the first 7 years. Now let's throw the monkey wrench right into the game. And then we understand this. I go, there are two minds. Conscious mind right behind your forehead is creative. That's imagination, creativity. That's what makes humans different from other organisms. We can imagine things and then we can create things. The subconscious brain is the hard drive in a computer. It's got programs in it. And I go, okay. I say, so significance is when I'm being conscious, I can control my behavior. But if I start, and here's the point, if I start thinking, I default to the subconscious. And I go, what do you mean? I say, the conscious, imagine the body is a vehicle.
Right, you're in the driver's seat.
And the conscious mind is looking out the windshield and saying, I want to drive here, I want to drive here. This is what I want to do. Creativity, this is what I want.
Right.
But the moment a person is thinking, and this is the issue, thinking is not looking out at the world, thinking is looking in. A thought is on the inside. So I say, hey, Lulu, today is Tuesday. And I say, what are you doing on Saturday? And it may not be written right in front of you. And I say, but in a minute or so, you will say, oh, on Saturday, I'm doing this. I go, yeah, well, the part, you were inside looking for it. And I said, wait, if you're driving the vehicle and then the driver, the conscious mind, is not looking out the window anymore, you're in a lot of trouble.
Right, yes.
But the subconscious is autopilot. It knows how to drive the car because you practiced, you made a program.
So many times, right?
So the significance of that is the moment you are thinking, the control is taken over by the program. Okay? And your behavior is coming from what you downloaded of other people's behaviors. And I go, then now comes the number that the Jesuits have known for 400 years. They've told their followers, they said, you ready? Give me a child until it is 7 and I will show you the man. I said, what did they know? What did they know? They knew, just as I said, the first 7 years, you have to download the programs before you can use the creative part. But then they also recognize this, 95% of our life is coming from the programs because that's how much time we spend thinking. And I go, so then are you living the life that your creative wishes and desires want?
Right.
Heaven on earth, love, everything. Or are you living the life your program gave you?
That's a big difference between those two.
Yeah, because the program didn't even come from you. So it doesn't answer your wishes and desires. Does your mother or father have the same wishes and desires as you have? And I go,
maybe.
If they don't, then 95% of the day, you're not operating from your wishes and desires. You're operating from their program. And that's why things run in a family. They say, oh, cancer's running in a family. And I go, cancer is a program.
Right. The program's running in the family over and over again through all the
That's
past
right.
generations.
So everybody wants to change the genes. I go, no, it wasn't the genes. They're responding to the program. You want to change your life, you have to change the program. 95% of your life is not coming from your wishes and desires. So you wake up in the morning going, today's the day I'm going to find romance. So today's the day I'm going to get healthier. Today I'm going to get the best job. And then 5 o'clock, you come home and go, nah, it didn't work.
What happened?
It didn't work. It didn't work. And here comes again the problem. Because 95% of the day, your wishes and desires were not programming what you want. You were being programmed by the download you got from other people.
Right.
They didn't, and I go, but you didn't see it. And there we go. I said, what do you mean I didn't see my behavior? I said, you didn't see your behavior. I said, how can I not see my behavior? And I go, when you're thinking, you're not looking out at what's happening, you're inside. So whatever behavior is playing, you're the one that doesn't see it.
Right.
So
the people outside of you see it.
So the important point, the profound story is you have a friend. You know your friend's behavior, and you happen to know your friend's parent. One day you see your friend has the same behavior as the parent. You really want to tell your, it's so exciting. You go, hey, Bill,
look at
you're
this.
just like your dad. The moment you say that, I know what Bill's response. I know what Bill's going to say. He's going,
no, I'm
how
not.
can you compare me to my dad? I'm nothing like my dad. And people laugh because they have all experienced it. And I said, that's the most profound story in the whole world. I go, why? Everybody else can see that Bill behaves like his dad. Who doesn't see it? Bill. Why can't Bill see it? Because when he's playing that program, he's playing it because he's not paying attention. So whatever the program is playing, Bill's the only one that doesn't see it and everybody else does. And I go, you ready for this, Lulu? We are all Bill. Every one of us all day long is thinking we're creating our life. It's not working. And therefore we are victims of that or this or that. I can tell you who created a problem for me. That's why I don't have the life I want. And I go, you don't have the life you want because your program doesn't support the life you want. And that's because then 95% of the day, the program is running. You're on autopilot. You don't see it. You only see the result when you come home. It didn't work. And then the immediate concept is, well, it wasn't me. I wanted to be healthy. It's that problem
the
out
program,
there.
Right.
I am a victim. And this is where the whole world has
victim mentality. Right. Yeah.
We have to be responsible and own that what happened to us was not an accident. We were all participants. We're all creating behavior. And if you don't see your behavior 95% of the day, then you do not see your involvement in your own problem. And therefore you don't have a problem. It's not me, it's them. And then victim is our belief system. I say, no, you're creating these problems because your behavior. And if I would extend that, then I say, wait, I got programmed before 7. And this controls my life. And I say, yeah, and guess what? You were programmed even before you were born last time.
That's right. So you're programmed in utero.
So can you tell me what program you got when you were in utero? No, I wasn't there. You got programmed a whole year from 0 to 1. I said, tell me what program you got in that whole year. You were being programmed every day. Tell me. Well, I don't remember. I wasn't there. I go, you got programmed a whole year from 1 to 2. I say, tell me that. You go, no, I don't remember the program. So here's the big issue. Your life has been programmed, and most of the programs, you don't even know what they are because when the program went in, you weren't conscious.
Right. So, you're in that tunnel vision.
And there wasn't a filtering of good program, bad program. You got good programs, you got bad programs. Nobody filtered and said good or bad because consciousness wasn't there. Comes to the issue we just said. Your life is based on your program. And then now the first thing we just said, yeah, but you don't know what the hell your program.
So how do you change your program?
So here's the answer. And this is profoundly simple and profoundly important. And it goes like this. 95% of your life is coming from the program. Your life is a printout of your programming. I go, so what does that mean? I say, look at your life right now, just at this minute. I say, look at all the things you like that come into your life, the things that you like and they show up.
Right.
They show up because you have a program to acknowledge them. But then goes the other side. look at all the places you struggle, work hard, put a lot of effort into, a sweat. I want to make this happen. I'm going to make this. I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to be in romance. I'm going to get a good job. I'm working. I go, why are you working so hard? And the answer is because that destination is not supported by your program.
Interesting.
And now I could say, now, if you look at your programs, you can say, well, I don't have to change this one because all the stuff I like is coming in. That's a good program.
Right. Got to change the other program.
But let's say the program of romance, I'm a failure at, I can't get it off the ground. Then I say, oh, my program does not support that. In my case, I give a simple example. My mother and father, because remember, we observe your parents in that development. If in downloading my mother and father's relationship behavior, it was dysfunctional. Yeah, but then I said, but if 95% of my life is coming from that program, then how can I make a relationship when my program was based on dysfunction? So for 40 years, I kept trying to get into a relationship. And
trying something new.
Not very good at it.
Did you figure that program out now?
Yes, I did.
Good job.
Once I understood the nature, that my issue wasn't the people I was dealing with. My issue was my own program.
That's how I found my husband too. I worked on myself.
This is the issue, because when we fall in love, we stay what is they call mindful. We stay conscious. Meaning, if you're thinking, you disconnect from the world. I go, but if you just met this person and you're so much in love, why would you want to be thinking? You want to be there with that.
You want to be with them, right?
So when you first fall in love, guess what? You stay in the conscious mind. I said, but the conscious mind's creative, wishes and desires. I go, so we have two minds, conscious, subconscious, program, creativity. I say, when we meet somebody and fall in love, it's two conscious minds together creating. So what do you think you created? Honeymoon. What's the honeymoon? Heaven on earth. You created heaven on earth. And I say, yeah, but here comes the problem. Honeymoons don't last for a long time for people. I say, why not? Because as long as you're in both in the conscious mind, staying mindful, then your behaviors are coming from wishes and desires. But if one or both of them start thinking, then the program is not coming from the conscious mind anymore. It starts coming from the subconscious.
Right. Then the problems start to come up.
But that's where the bad programs, like I got from my mother and father. So I start meet somebody, and we in the beginning it's, oh, this is great, honeymoon.
Everything's good.
Down the road a week, a month, or whatever later, I'm starting to think too much. And my behavior is not coming from here, it's coming from here. But this has the dysfunctional behavior. So my partner looks at me and goes, after the honeymoon, we've been beautiful.
Who are you?
I play one of those programs, and you're absolutely right. Who are you? Where did that come from?
You weren't like this when I met you before.
That's right. It was unintended behaviors that showed up because they were locked into the subconscious, but didn't play as long as you were in love and you stayed conscious. And then all of a sudden I say, what does this lead to? I say, who are you? And all of a sudden there's an argument because remember the story of Bill? So let's say we're on a honeymoon, Margaret and I, and we're on this honeymoon, we're enjoying love and everything. And then she asked me a question while I happen to be thinking. And she asked me a simple question and I go, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, who are you?
What was that?
Now it's a story of Bill. Why? I was thinking. So when I played my father's behavior, I didn't see it. It was automatic.
Right.
So I didn't even see what I said. So she accuses me of being, who are you? And I'm going, what are you talking about?
That's why we can't remember when we have those programs come up.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't say that. That's not me. I would
never do that.
But the fact was, when you were thinking, you're not you. When you're thinking, you're the program. And you are the one that you don't see the program. I say, once the arguments start in the honeymoon, then guess what? The heaven on earth part disappears.
Right. Poof.
You can still love each other, but it's not the juicy honeymoon love fest that you had when you first fell in love. So the way out of it, of course, is if you understand you've been programmed and you understand your partner's been programmed, then as the love is going on and you're in the honeymoon, it's really great. If a bad program shows up, it's not that your partner or you are bad. It was at that moment you were not being you were being the program that you downloaded. And this leads to an argument. And then the argument breaks the magic of the honeymoon.
Right.
And I go, yeah, but if you know your program and your partners, both of you have been programmed, then if I go blah, 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 then Margaret has an opportunity to go, did you hear what you just said? Or did you notice your behavior or something? And I go, no. Oh, you blah, blah, blah. And I say, oh, that's a bad behavior. I can rewrite that behavior if I know I have it. And if I take what Margaret and I have done over the years, is anytime a bad program came up, it was like, instead of an argument, it was a discussion. That, you want that behavior? You want to change that behavior? I say, yeah, I don't want it. I want to change it.
Who wants that?
I rewrite that behavior to a good behavior. And after filtering out all the ones that took away the love and replaced them with love behaviors, then there's a day where you have no more negative behavior, whether you're paying attention or not. You could be thinking the entire day, but if your program in the subconscious is always supporting the honeymoon, then you have the honeymoon 24/7 every day, whether you're conscious and creating it with wishes and desires, or whether you're thinking and then your subconscious with good programs takes over. You have good programs either way. And that means then the honeymoon is not a short period. Honeymoon is a lifetime experience.
Right, which is great. That's it. Yes, that's really great. I love that. And when you're in that phase of, let's connect it to the planet a little bit, because I think let's move out into the planet. So we're talking about our program, and we're all connected vibrationally to the planet. So how can we shift our program as a collective to help heal the planet?
We have to start changing the belief. I said, what is the belief to make harmony? Oh, that's not in my program. I go, now you have a problem, because whenever a stimulus shows up where you should be making harmony, you'll be doing something with disharmony. So the idea is this: where am I having a problem? And that's why I said, well, first thing, you could just look at your life right now and tell you whatever thing you wish for and you're not getting it. It's not because the universe won't give it to you. It's because your own subconscious programs are sabotaging you. You don't even see it. So the idea is this. So now I look at my behavior. I have a bad relationship thing. Why? Because my father and mother, and I go, oh, I had to rewrite the program.
Right, exactly.
And when I rewrote the program, then my conscious mind looking for the relationship, my subconscious mind with a new program looking for the relationship, we're both on the same page.
Yeah.
So the idea is, how can you change the program? So you need first, what is the program?
What's the program? Right. So if it's a group of people, they have to look and see what that whole program is as a collective.
And the program is simple, because it's basically saying, what is it you really want in your life and you're not getting it, even if you're working hard?
Right.
Whatever that destination you were seeking, the program doesn't support that destination.
No compute.
And therefore, that's the program you want to change and put in another program that would give you the results you want, not the one that you're getting. And that means you have to reprogram your subconscious mind. So the first thing is, what are my programs? I look at, oh, I can't get a relationship, then I got to reprogram relationship in my mind. Okay. I go, this is, again, where another problem comes from, because the conscious mind is creative. The subconscious mind is program, habit versus creativity.
Right.
You go, okay, so I say, so the important understanding about this is they also learn in different ways. That's where the problem comes from.
Yes.
The conscious mind, being creative, can learn in any way. We can
any stimuli.
We can listen to the Lulu program and go, I need to change something. Okay?
Boom.
I could go watch a video. I could go to a live lecture. I could read a self-help book, and my conscious mind, creative, downloads and go, oh yeah, these are the rules. I go, this was fun. I say in the class, I say, how many people have read self-help books? And all the hands go up. I say, how many of those people, how did your life change after you read the book? And all the hands go back down again. I said, what happened? I said, you understood the book, because if I gave you a quiz, what was the point of this book? And you give me the answer, that meant the conscious mind read it, understood it, the conscious mind got smart. But then I said, but the two minds don't learn the same way. So the subconscious mind did not learn that way. So the conscious mind got smarter, subconscious mind never changed.
Right.
Okay? Because the subconscious mind only learns in three fundamental ways. And if you don't apply any of those three, then life is a struggle, because you're going to try to re-educate the subconscious, and it doesn't learn that way. So I say, well, you can only do it the way it learned. You want to change the program? I say, well, there are 3 ways. I say, how did you get the programs? First 7 years, I got the program because my brain wasn't functioning at the level of consciousness. It was a lower vibration, theta,
Right.
which is called hypnosis. Okay. So I said, oh, you want to change the subconscious, and you have to do hypnosis.
Right. You got to get back into
way.
the theta brain, right? Yeah.
But do I need a hypnotherapist? I say, no, you don't. And I said, why not? Because the vibration of theta is lower than the vibration of consciousness, which is alpha, and a higher one, beta, which is zero. Okay. And I say, so if you want to get into hypnosis, you have to be in theta, which is actually just below consciousness. That's why in the old days, when the hypnotherapist, you had a watch,
Right.
Bring it back and forth. And what did he tell people? You're getting tired.
Right, you're getting sleepy.
You're sleepy. I say the significance is that lowers the brain waves down to theta. And when you're in theta, the conscious mind's not paying attention, but the subconscious mind is downloading.
Right.
So I go, every night when you go to bed, you start, let's say in the daytime, you're working at work, beta, high vibration.
Way up in your brain. Ding, ding.
Right. And then you come home and you relax. Well, that calm consciousness is called alpha. And the moment you close your eyes and drift off to sleep, the moment you do that, alpha shuts off, and now you're in the next lower one, beta.
Yeah.
So because every night when you go to bed, the moment your conscious mind goes to sleep, theta is a short period of operation that's still running before you go into the lowest vibration, delta, which is sleep.
Right, exactly.
So every night there's a short period when you close your eyes and you're just falling asleep, you're in theta for a short period of time before it drops to the next lower level, delta. So I say theta is hypnosis. So I go, if you put earphones on, you play a program just as you're falling asleep, a program that gives you the positive thinking of whether it's a relationship, positive way to, or job, what positive things, or health,
or language.
When you put the earphones on at night, you can hear the program for a bit while you're still awake. But the moment you fall asleep, consciousness is disconnected, but subconscious is downloading.
Yeah.
So this is called self-hypnosis. And you have to repeat this because the theta period is not a very long period. So you have to repeat it every night for a period of time. And then
for it to like click in.
And the beautiful part about this education process is you do it while you're sleeping. So it's no sweat off your back. You're not even
right. You don't have to spend hours in like
no homework,
tank
nothing.
Or something like that.
That's one way to change a program, is find a program that supports what you want, play it at night through earphones, go to sleep, and let the short period of theta take whatever's in the earphones and download it into the subconscious. Okay. That's called self-hypnosis. Okay. The second way is, wait, you still learn programs after age 7. Now the brain is not in hypnosis anymore. I said, how'd you learn a new program after age 7? Repetition.
That's right.
You want to drive a car, you got to get in there and practice. You want to ride a bicycle, you got to get in there and practice. Repetition is habituation. The more you practice, the more it becomes a habit. So a second way of changing the subconscious mind is to repeat a behavior you want to be true.
That's right.
The new agey funny version of that is fake it till you make it.
That's right. Manifest it, create the vision.
So the point is, you're not a happy person. And I go, yeah, but you want to be a happy person. So I say, guess what? All day long, you repeat to yourself as many times as possible, just to yourself. You go, I am happy. I am happy.
Got to break that tape loop.
Miserable. You can be totally miserable. And I say, I don't care if you're miserable. I want you to say, I am happy. Because as you repeat it over and over again, that leads to habituation. And there's one day you'll wake up and you won't have to say, I'm happy, because by then, now it's downloaded and you woke up. Hey, I'm happy, and I just woke up. Okay.
New world.
New program. So that's the second way, repeating a behavior, habituation. And it's very interesting because actors, when they take on a character, they take on a psychology of a character. Okay.
Right.
And when they take on that psychology of the character, that's a program. And their bodies will then make a response to become that. So Renee Zellweger, she stars in the Bridget Jones or whatever diary thing there, whatever.
Right.
And I say, she's 40 pounds overweight for that movie, over her weight. I go, how did she handle it? I say, she got into character.
She created a program.
And then her consciousness was not her consciousness. Her consciousness now was a program of a character. But then that program of repeating that character, she gained 40 pounds because that's what the character was. Now, the beautiful part about that is when the movie was over, character gone, she goes back to being Renee again, the 40 pounds disappeared because that was her consciousness.
Right.
So profound actors who are really good, when they take on a character, become physiologically, genetically the expression of that character. Okay? Matthew McConaughey played in the Dallas Buyers Club.
Oh yeah, he lost like 50 pounds or more. He was so
I don't know. He was this thick around the waist. You know?
Yeah, he was so tiny.
He almost died.
Yeah,
but he had to play that character. So when he put in the character in his mind, his body became the character. Okay,
right.
And when the movie was over, he came back to his character again. Want to change your life? Pick a character. Make it an actor.
That's right.
This is my character. Who's here I am. I say, play that character. Just repeat like I'm playing the character.
Play a healthy person.
Will become that character.
Yeah.
That's a way of doing it. When the actor is good, Dustin Hoffman is great at this. When he takes on a different character, he's somebody so different. I remember I saw The Graduate and I saw him in there and somebody says, oh, you should see Midnight Cowboy. I go, oh, okay. I went to go look at Midnight Cowboy, and about halfway through the movie, I said to my friend, I said, when's Dustin Hoffman going to be in here? And he said, Dustin Hoffman's been in there since the beginning. I go, Ratto Rizzo, that character is Dustin Hoffman?
You didn't recognize him?
So much, I did not recognize him in the movie. And yet, the serious part is he played When the Iceman Cometh, a very depressing play.
Yeah.
And he was great. He played the main character, Willie Loman, who was totally depressive, okay? He was so good at the character that he actually had to check himself into a mental hospital because the mental character that he was playing was dysfunctional. And
right. So he took on that program.
Dysfunctional. He had to actually go get back into his own character again. Changing your own character is what you want. Then you behave and repeat that character, and you play it and you become that character. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have two ways so far. Self-hypnosis, earphones on at night. Okay. Second way, habituation. Habituate a new belief. I am happy. I am happy. You will become happy. Okay. And then the third way, very good one. And there's an old saying, necessity is the mother of invention. And
who said that?
I said that just now. But the character about it is human civilization has a necessity to change behavior right now. Why? Because our behavior is destroying not just ourselves, but
the planet.
So I say, well, then guess what? There was a new way to change behavior that is rapid. It's almost miraculous how fast it can change. It's called energy psychology. It engages in the brain something called super learning. What's super learning? I said, maybe you've seen or heard about somebody can be in a bookstore, move their finger down the page just like that.
Right.
And super learning, I could read every word on that page. Even if it's a big page like this, I can read every word on that page. Just going
right. Yeah, scanner. That's what I do. I just scan it. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, great.
In super learning, you actually read it and learned it, but it was faster than your conscious mind could do it. Okay.
Yeah.
But your subconscious got the program. So I say, if you can engage super learning and then try to put a program in using super learning, then and here's the magic, with these modalities, you can change a belief you had your entire life.
Right, just like that.
15 minutes.
Yep.
15 minutes, walk away, new life.
Right.
Just to help people, because now they're going, that's the magic. And I go, yeah, it is the magic. But on my website, so it's very simple, brucelipton.com.
Yeah.
Under resources, there's a directory of about 30 different energy psychology modalities where there's a little description of each. One that feels good to you, pick it, go to the website, try it out, because it is a fact. My whole life changed in many different ways, but each different way was only a matter of 10 or 15 minutes to rewrite a program that was in my way and change it into a program that supported me. So there are 3 ways to change behavior. The first is the first way you did learn behavior in the subconscious. That was hypnosis. The second way is the second way you learn habits by repetition and practice. And the third way of change is called energy psychology, which is wow, the magic of
The
change.
magic of healing. Love it.
Yeah, and then that becomes simple. If you create love and harmony and health and wealth as part of your program, then 95% of the day, the new program will be taking you to your destination you want, because that's why you put that program in there.
Exactly.
And you can do it, guess what? No work, because right now, 95% of your life is coming from the subconscious. You don't even know that's happening.
So it's just
That's how much is
instantaneous.
happening.
Right. Yeah.
So the beautiful part about changing your belief system is that when you do that, it's no work. Your life will just all of a sudden, oh, it's working.
It's just,
Yeah.
yes, I love that. That's my favorite part of life is when I'm working on that change, I mean, my belief system and the manifestation, and it just is happening all around me. It's like, it's easy. It's such an easy step instead of, like you said, that work.
You have to know, the why my subconscious doesn't learn the way my conscious mind learns. Because if I read the self-help book, then by definition, then I automatically, my subconscious would be supporting that, what I read. But I go, no. You change the conscious mind, but never change the
subconscious mind. Bruce, I think we could talk for 1,000,000 hours.
Well, at least 12.
At least 12.
I figure by 12 people get bored to death. So
but let's wrap things up today. I have one last question for you. And then also we're going to talk about where people can find you and your Imaginal Cells community. First of all, if you had an unlimited budget right now, what would you do to make the biggest impact on the planet?
continue exactly what I'm doing, because knowledge is power.
Yes.
And what we want our audience, I want your audience to understand what I'm talking about. Why? Because look, I wrote a book called The Honeymoon Effect.
That's right.
Here's a guy who couldn't get a relationship off the ground for 40 plus years. And then he writes a book called The Honeymoon Effect, because once all that knowledge we just talked about, once I had the opportunity to say, oh my God, my programs are wrong, I want to change this. Now I have a honeymoon every day of my life. I've been on the honeymoon for 22 years in a row. Why? Because my behavior in my subconscious is directing me to experience the honeymoon. That's what my subconscious is. So whether I'm thinking and my subconscious taking over, I still have the honeymoon.
That's right. Every day's a honeymoon.
That's what we have to understand then is basically to get this new program in. And then you are the creator. And this has always been true. We've always been told we're creators. And then a lot of people go around, I wouldn't have created this mess. I wouldn't have created that.
Right. I didn't create that. There's no way.
But unfortunately, until you take responsibility, you are a victim. Only when you decide to empower yourself and change the program, are you going to manifest something different.
Exactly.
And that's what we have to recognize. Otherwise, you're going to repeat the same. These are habits.
Right.
If you're having a habit that doesn't get you a relationship, well, that's a habit. You're not going to get a relationship.
You're going to create the same one over and over again, which is no fun.
I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm in love.
Oh, Bruce, how can people find you? Your website you mentioned was brucelipton.com.
So simple. And
so
all the
easy.
things we're talking about, there are podcasts, there are videos, there are written materials, all kinds of stuff freely downloadable on the topics we've been talking about.
Great. I love that. And can you mention your awesome community you have, your membership, the Imaginal Cells community? Because I think that's so fun.
Yeah, because we have a lot of people who started to recognize, oh my goodness, I listened to Bruce and I've changed my life, and now I'm so excited. They want to get more and more. So we have what is called the Imaginal Cell community. They join on a membership, very relatively inexpensive, $7 a month. That's a cappuccino with a tip. And but the point about it is there's also a connection with them on our website. So community members start talking to each other and sharing their wisdom, what they learned, or asking questions of the community. I'm having a problem with this. Can anybody in the community give me some advice? So there's feedback, talk to each other. And that's the beautiful part about the community, because they support each other to raise up the level.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Great. Well, thank you again so much for joining us today. I cannot wait to share it with my audience. And I look forward to many future conversations I think we could have.
Dearest Lulu, we just touched the surface.
That's right. I know we did. It was just like a grain of sand.
But this is not a bad start.
Right. Yeah, totally. Thanks again, Bruce. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate it. And again, thanks to our wonderful audience, because as each one of them starts to empower themselves, then Earth will actually turn into the equivalent of heaven, because that's where I believe it is anyway.
That's right. Exactly. Yes. Cheers to that.